Okay, I am at my NAPA auto parts place. Last week I stopped in here to get 2 filters and 2 5-gallon buckets of hydraulic oil for the that John Deere tractor that I just replaced the seal in. And the woman told me, was it a woman or a man? I don't remember now. Anyhow, the price came to $314.50 right there. So I didn't really think anything of it, because I know hydraulic oil is expensive, but then I got thinking, okay, hydraulic oil is, let's say, $100 a bucket. I got 2 buckets, that's $200. So 2 filters is $114. Well, okay, so this is the hydraulic filter, this is the oil filter. And let me make sure I get these right. Yes, so this filter here for that John Deere compact tractor, and it's a pretty good size filter on there. That filter, look at that, $111.99. The oil filter is not too bad, and I thought that seems like an awful lot for an oil filter. So over the weekend I went on the John Deere website, typed in the number for the filter I need for that tractor. I think their filter is between $60 and $70. So that is about a $50 difference between NAPA and John Deere. John Deere being cheaper. So I think I'm going to have to call it quits on NAPA filters. I had this happen on my diesel Ram pickup truck. I had bought a fuel filter here a year or 2 ago, and just happened to check the price at the Ram dealer. The Ram dealer was $10 or $15. That's a $100 fuel filter for that truck. And the Ram dealer was actually cheaper than NAPA. The smaller oil filter here, I think that was only a difference of, I want to say $2. But for $50, I'm returning this filter. I had to come up here anyway. I'm returning the filter. I'm driving to the John Deere dealer that I don't really care for. They're supposed to have it in stock, and I'm getting the cheaper filter. I can drive up there for $50. That's insane. $112 to 60 or 62, I think is what it was. So let's go in here and take care of returning this filter. I want you to look at this with your own lion eyes. So this is the filter I needed, the LVA 10419. John Deere's price, $60.38 compared to NAPA price. They had a list price of $155, a net of $111. So a difference of $51 and some change in that filter. That is just crazy. I don't believe the NAPA filter is that much better than the John Deere filter, but wow. So just be warned when you're buying filters from NAPA. So one of the things to consider concerning these filters and the difference in price is where were they made. So, you know, I have talked about John Deere in a couple of videos ago, you know, getting rid of people here in the US and moving manufacturing to Mexico. And sure enough, right here, this filter's made in Mexico. So was the other filter from NAPA, was it made in the US, and that was the reason it was, you know, $50-some difference in it? I doubt it was made in the US. But even if it was, that is no excuse for it to be $50 more. Yes, I will pay $5 or $10 more for something made in the US, but not $50 more, which that's a whole nother topic on why things cost more to make here in the US than, you know, taking it to Mexico and then shipping it back here to the US. But I won't get into that because I could talk for an hour on that topic. But yeah, this was made in Mexico, so this filter I did not return because it was only $1 difference, I think, between Deere and NAPA. But when I looked at it, I think it was made in India. So yeah, you know, I try not to be a hypocrite talking about John Deere moving their production to Mexico, but there's an example. But I should have looked at that filter from NAPA now as I'm thinking about it to see where that one was made. That would be interesting to know where that one was made and why it was so much difference in the price of it. Oh well, the world may never know. At least I don't think I will know, because I'm not buying that filter again from NAPA. And I've got every piece back on there. I only had one washer left over. I have no clue where that washer went, but if that's all I had left over, that's not too bad. So let's jump on here, start it up, get that. I have not filled it to the level of oil that it should be, only that in case it's gonna leak somewhere, I won't lose all the oil by draining it out of here. Hopefully there will be no leaks, but let's see how things go here. Uh-oh. Oh, there we go. Push on the pedal. That oil probably hasn't sucked up into the pump yet. Well, the lift comes up. Hold it. Maybe I'm in neutral. Yeah, okay, there we go. Uh-oh. I see a puddle of oil here. That's not good. What's going on here? Oh, shit. Frick. Right around the oil filter. Damn it. At least that's where I think it is. Or it might be that line up here. That's not good. Darn it. Darn it. All right. Let me turn you off while I diagnose. Okay, it is one of these lines that is leaking. Looks like maybe the bottom one, so I'm going to try to tighten it up. It's possible that an O-ring is bad. Those are flat face hydraulic lines. It's possible that either an O-ring is bad or the O-ring fell out as I was putting it all back together. So I'll get a wrench and tighten them and see what happens. Okay, I tightened the bottom line, started it up. It's still leaking. So it is the top line that is leaking, and that is the one that I had to screw together with an inch between here before we shove the tractor back together. I can get to it from the bottom side, but I've got to take the filter off. I've got to take this line here off as well, and then I can reach that top line. But before I pull it apart, I guess I'm gonna get some of those flat-faced O-rings, so I will have them. I don't think I have any on the shelf. That way I will have them when I pull it apart, and if that is the only issue is that O-ring, then I can replace that and slap it back on there. I posted a short yesterday when I was at Ag Progress in State College, Pennsylvania, and someone in the comments section asked, what did I buy? Well, this is all I bought, was a set of metric crow's feet wrenches and just some of these little turbo shanks here. Sometimes you just need to have something small to get into a tight spot. But yeah, I needed a 24 crow's foot in order to get to that hydraulic line that is leaking on that tractor. I didn't have any. I had all the other sizes in this drawer here. So I have the larger sizes. I only go down to 1 1/16 inch. I didn't have any, well, I have some of the smaller metrics here, but they only go up to a 19. My standard ones only go up to 11/16. So I'm missing from 1 inch to 7/8 on the standard, and then on the metric stop at 19 and don't go any further north than that. So on this one I do get a couple more. So for $34.99, you know those Chinese outfits that are always at those farm shows selling the, well, they're Americans, but they're selling the Chinese cheap crap, the one and done stuff. Well, this will be a one and done. I'll use it on that line. If it doesn't break and works for another project, that's great too. So let me see if I can now get that line off of there, look at that O-ring to see if that is the problem. Hopefully it is. Hey, that line seems to be a little bit loose, so maybe I can just try to tighten it up. Alright, I guess since I'm this far, because I had to take the filter off here and then this other line off from there, I guess since I'm this far, I take it off and check that O-ring. It was a booger to get on there and get started. So I think I'm going to take my chances, put it all back together and see what happens. That's tight. Let's see if I can get the wrench on there. Alright, that's tight. Okay, everything is on there. Let's see if that 1/8 or 1/4 of a turn made a difference in the oil leak, or maybe I have to take it all back off and change that O-ring. We'll see. Let me wipe everything down here. Okay, ain't but one way to find out, and that's get on the tractor and start it. there you go. That didn't fix it. We still have a leak there. It's coming off of that top line, so I've got to pull it off and check that O-ring. It was worth a shot. I would say that O-ring is chewed up a little bit. When I finally got that line off of there, this O-ring was not in that flat spot where it belongs. Let me show you. This is what I'm talking about. See, this is a flat face fitting, and so see that O-ring that sits inside of there. So on the end of the transmission, there's a flat face fitting like that. That O-ring was supposed to be sitting inside of there. When I pulled that line off, it wasn't. So I think it was kind of sitting cockeyed. We just didn't catch that when we put that line on there because of where it was. So I'll look for one of these O-rings and see if I have one and get it all back together. And the Build Back Better program is still happening down here. We are going on a month of this project. And they're on the shoulders now, paving the shoulders. But yes, we are 1 month into this project of about 3 miles here of chipping up the old pavement and putting down new pavement. It should not have taken this long, but it has. Now, they haven't worked at it every day. So hopefully by the end of this week, this project will be done. It has hurt our business at the hardware store. I was talking to a farmer next to me, a neighboring farmer that has a produce stand at the end of this construction on the other end, and he said it has hurt his business considerably because people just aren't going to wait in this traffic. I got lucky today, the sign had just been turned around by the time I came through. But yeah, people are not going to wait in this traffic to go down and buy some cantaloupes and tomatoes, or to come down to the hardware store and buy a few nuts and bolts and paint. They'll go north before they have other choices north of us, so they'll do that before they come down here and deal with this traffic. So hopefully it's done by the end of the week. Oh heck, I see we've got 2 cops today, one at the other end and then one down here at this end in front of the hardware store. So I don't know who is paying for the police to be here, whether it's the company or whether it's our tax dollars paying them, but that's a bit ridiculous. Traffic isn't that bad down here, but I guess these flaggers have felt unsafe, so they've called the police in. And I have the leak stopped. I had to get Farmer's daughter out here to help me. I just needed one more hand. When I took that hydraulic line or transmission line off inside, trying to get it lined back up again, that line ran from inside of there up to here, and it had to be perfect getting it lined up, and I just didn't have enough hands to do it. So Farmer's daughter came out, and about it took us about 18 minutes and 32 seconds, and then I was able to get it. I've started it up and there are no leaks, so I can finish cleaning my mess up on this one and move to the next project. And I've already got that next project lined up. Well, I'm halfway done with this project. I've got a neighbor that needs to borrow an auger here, and when I pulled this out of the barn, I hadn't used it in a number of years. I was missing the other half of this PTO shaft. Don't know where the hell it went to, but in the process of trying to figure this out, you can see this thing has a hell of a twist in it. So I just decided that it was time to get a new shaft. Well, we had to cut this one off. We just couldn't get this yoke off of here on the end of this. It was on there pretty good. This just has a pin that goes through it to hold it on there. So we cut that off. Went up to a place that sells a lot of PTO parts, and they were able to put one together for me. So I've still got to go in here and finish getting this pin out of here. There's still, the old pin is in there. So I've got to get that out, and then I can put that new shaft on, and then that should be ready to go to work. Well, what we did, where I had this thing made up, where I had the PTO shaft made up, he went ahead and usually there's a keyway in here and then a set screw that goes down on top of that keyway to lock it on there. This is made different in that there's no keyway, but you just put a bolt all the way through, and it acts as a shear pin that if you're digging down and this gets caught on something, it should shear this pin before it breaks anything else up. Well, what the guy did was just pull the set screw out and then continue drilling a hole all the way through to the other side. Well, this is too far up on here. This hole has to be closer to the edge here in order for this to work, because if I shove it on to line up that hole, then the cross is going to hit up against that shaft. So it needs to be like right in there somewhere. So now I need to probably drill a new hole through this thing to get it so it's done right. There's another hole in this. Hold on, let me pull this off. There's another hole there, but that's a much smaller hole. So this pin that I have is not going through that. So that means that pin being smaller will really shear very quick, probably as soon as you put that in any clay or dirt. So I need to use that hole. So I'm gonna just drill another hole through this, and hopefully I can get it straight down on to the other side. We'll see how that goes. Okay, that's not the prettiest job, but oh man, I'm way off on that. Way off, not good. And when I get this hole lined up, I can't get my snap ring on the end here, so I measured wrong. I need to go back that much in order to get the snap ring on. So, because what's going to happen when this pin shears, if there's not a snap ring on, this shaft is going to come completely off. It's going to continue turning on the tractor, and who knows what's going to happen. So I need to have that snap ring on there. So I guess I'm going to come back, drill another hole. All right, I've got it on there, but it's not really the way I want it. It's not hitting up against that snap ring real tight. And see what happens when this thing gets at too much of an angle, it hits right against that shaft there. So when this goes on the 3-point hitch, you know, that thing raises up. So I'm not sure if that's going to be enough of an angle there. I ground those ears off a little bit on each side. I could grind them a little bit more, but it's going to weaken that. But I won't know till I put it on the tractor. Okay, let me clean my mess up here. And that's going to wrap this one up. So I'm going to say, see ya! See ya!